Hey guys, so today I want to talk about Pokemon investing. I want to talk about the future of this hobby. I want to talk a little bit about human psychology as well, and just have a little bit of a philosophical discussion about a couple of things, and we'll tie it all into Pokemon, right? Because you guys know that I'm a long-term investor. I want to be here for the long haul. Once I can double my investment, I like to sell half, throw the other half in a closet or on a shelf, and not look at it or worry about it for 5 to 10 years. And hopefully down the road, I will be able to sell a lot of that stuff. And my ultimate goal is to use part of the money I make in Pokemon to eventually buy a home. And if you live in Canada, you know that that is not the easiest thing anymore. It's much more difficult than it was 30, 40 years ago. So I'm going to need all the help I can get on that front. But in terms of Pokemon investing, right? And there's not a ton of things that are obvious in the world, okay? One of them is that I need to shave, or at least cut my beard, because I'm starting to look like a homeless person. The second thing is that eventually Pokemon's going to enter, a downturn in popularity, and we're going to enter a period where not as many people are buying product. It's going to be more difficult to make money on sealed investments. You're not going to see 100% returns over a 3 month period like we saw with Surging Sparks, and we're now seeing with Prismatic Evolutions, and we might see with Journey Together or Team Rocket, depending on what happens later this year. But when that happens, we need to be prepared mentally, and not just mentally, but also financially, right? You got to have a plan going into it. And you guys know me. My plan is to buy, right? Buy as much as possible and to go through that period of time knowing that I'm probably not going to make a lot of money during that period, whether it's a year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever it is. But when I come out the other side, I'm more than likely going to be doing better. And that's the plan, right? Buy as low as possible, especially during that time. And then eventually, once we see an uptick in popularity in Pokemon again, and I do say eventually because I think it will happen, right? And this is where we talk about human psychology and stuff. So um, we all know now, okay, and I kind of already alluded to part of it. Home ownership, not just in Canada, but other parts of the Western world and pretty much everywhere in the world at this point is becoming more difficult for the average person, right? We all know that housing prices are outpacing wage growth, and it's very difficult, especially if we have high interest rates, to get a decent mortgage rate and even be able to make your payments. So people aren't owning homes anymore. Okay, and if people don't own homes, they don't start families. And part of that too is just not having kids because it's too expensive to have kids, right? Maybe some people have dogs and pets, but even those are expensive. People aren't being able to do the things in life that they normally would do. And part of that, if you go deeper, is also just society as a whole is moving away from the church and religion. And I don't think that for some people that's a bad thing. I personally, I do believe in God, but organized religion in general kind of rubs me the wrong way, at least sometimes, just because obviously there is a lot of corruption in certain religions and stuff. So uh, I think as a whole, the morals of society have shifted way too far to the left or in the opposite direction of where they need to be. And there's probably going to be a rebound eventually towards the middle, and we'll find a happy medium. But that could take decades, could take 100 years, 200 years, who knows, right? But for now, in our climate, people aren't going to be owning stuff. They aren't going to be doing things that, in the past brought people fulfillment, like having a family, raising children, being passionate about your job and, looking to the future to potentially own a home and pay it off and, all of that. Most of it's surrounded and, family centric, right? If that makes sense. Now we're moving into things where, it's all about the dopamine. People are scrolling on Instagram. They're trying to get their likes. They're gambling and stuff like that. And I don't think that's going anywhere in the future, not anytime soon. So I think that Pokemon's always going to be here because there is a gambling element to it. Opening packs, you don't know what's going to be inside. And also just, it's a different way to own something that potentially could bring you happiness. And it's also going to be a lot less expensive than something like a home, right? For example, if you own an Umbreon VMAX, 2 grand, 3 grand, whatever it's going to be raw, PSA 10 doesn't really matter. That's going to be a lot cheaper than buying a nice new car, buying a home, etc. So it's a way for people that maybe are lacking in life in certain aspects. They aren't super happy. It's a way for them to be happy, and I don't necessarily think that that's a good way to live your life and to get dopamine into your system and I don't know. It's just, it's bad. It's problematic that people have to turn to these types of vices to be happy. I'm not saying everyone in Pokemon is like that. That's really just a section of people, but it's the fact that, Pokemon brings, feelings of happiness, right, to a lot of people. The people enjoy the hobby, they enjoy opening packs, they enjoy the community that comes as part of being in Pokemon. And I don't think that's going anywhere. And that's why I believe in Pokemon in the long term. And when that period of time where the downturn comes, if you're solely here to make money and you don't see the long-term vision of Pokemon, you're probably going to have a very difficult time to go through a 2, 3, 4, 5 year long period where you're not making any money, right? Or you're making very little money. You see 2, 3, 4, or 5% returns on your investments. Maybe you see negative returns on your investments over a couple year period. Like that could be very problematic for a lot of people. And if you're not ready for it, it's gonna suck, okay? But I'm here to show you, okay, during periods where we're not in a bull market, where it's not as popular, this is where you need to buy to make most of your money once the bull market hits. If you're buying when everyone else is already buying, it's too late, okay? And I'm going to give you examples going back to December 2023. This is where I started buying like really heavily. I had bought some stuff before then. And I'm not going to show you anything from the Pokemon Center just because editing those and like, getting rid of all of the details, it's kind of a pain. But we'll start with this one from December 11th, 2023. And remember, guys, all of these prices are in Canadian, okay? So I think it's, 70 cents on the dollar to the US. So 130 Canadian for Paldean Fates booster boxes. That's like $90 USD. I bought a couple of these in December, and I'll throw screenshots up on the YouTube video so you guys can see what I'm talking about because I'm just looking at my computer. The next thing, December 24th, Crown Zenith ETBs. I bought a few of these, $55 Canadian, which when you do the conversion, that's like $38 USD. I was buying these at the bottom, and I'm not going to go through everything I bought at the time. There'd just be way too many. Also bought Hisuian Zoroark V-Star boxes, $35 Canadian, so I don't know, 25-ish, 24, something like that USD. I've gotten rid of all of those now. I don't have any of those, but those were an easy double up as well. The Crown Zenith boxes are essentially a triple up at this point from that buy cost. The next one, I bought some Lost Origin booster bundles, 25 of them, $33 Canadian. That was February 5th of last year, actually. So this was kind of around the time period where a lot of the Sword and Shield sets were starting to sell out on the Pokemon Center. And I think I think Lost Origin was still in stock maybe on this day. But I could tell that it was coming, right? It was going to be the next one up. Maybe Fusion Strike had gone. Chilling Rain obviously was already out at this point. So I was trying to stock up on a lot of these products because I knew there was just going to be that hit over the next couple months. And obviously later into 2024, 2025 and onwards, there's just going to be less of it on the market. So I bought some of these, 33 Canadian. That's like what? I don't know, 24 USD, something like that. Which at the time I thought was a really good deal. Next up, I bought some Team Up sleeved boosters, 66.50 Canadian, and I don't even know what that'd be in US, 47, something like that, 48, I don't know, in that range. These have pretty much already doubled as well. Take up no space. It's I have the full art set of them, and I'm planning to keep them. I think I actually bought 4 more. I bought another art set from, was it Dolly's Cards or Catch a Card or something like that, but yeah, so I had 8, I sold 4. The next one, this is a screenshot from, I believe this is Catch a Card, and look, I've talked about Catch a Card a lot on this channel, for you guys that are in Canada. The reason I like Catch a Card so much is that they've been really good to me and like honored things. So this screenshot on screen, that I'm showing you guys, I bought a case of Paldea Evolved booster boxes. I bought a case of Lost Origin booster boxes, and this was right after they went out on the Pokemon Center. I remember that. And Lost Origin booster bundles, I bought 20 of those. And you guys can't see it because it's a discount code, but there was a 5% off discount code put on this entire order. And a couple of these products weren't eligible, or they weren't supposed to be eligible for the discount. But the guys over there at Catch a Card, they honored it on the entire purchase because they didn't realize until after, and that That probably cost them like $100. This was a $2,600 order, so yeah, it was probably close to $100, maybe a little bit over that they lost. But that's why I'm such a big fan of them, because they did the right thing, at least in my mind. And I always try and give them my business when I can. They don't have a 1% cashback program. They do have their store through Shopify, so if you buy, you get the 1% back in shop cash. But it really doesn't matter to me. They've been so good to me, so that's why I continue to buy from them when I can. The next couple, these were like in the middle of the year, like around May. This is when a lot of Sword and Shield started going sideways. And, at this point, I really started buying a lot more Scarlet and Violet era stuff, especially when I saw a good deal. So, this one on screen, Paradox Rift booster boxes. These were $120 Canadian, which is like, it was $80 or something, like 82, $83 USD when you do the conversion. And I was buying a ton of these. It just made sense. Like, it was so logical. I bought a couple cases of these. I think this order's only for one case, but I did buy a couple more after this, and like just such a good price. Like, it was just a no-brainer. No one wanted Paradox Rift at the time. This was even before like November or December, when Paradox Rift started, getting a little bit of popularity. People started talking about it more. This just seems so logical. Next one, same thing, Scarlet and Violet base, 125 Canadian a box. And yeah, I mean, that's like 87 USD, something like that. Bought some of those. Bought another case at 145. That was in November, a Paradox Rift. And then, Paldean Fates, bought a case of ETBs, 62 Canadian, so like 45 USD. That was in November, like mid-November, guys. Those have already doubled. Insane. Crown Zenith, I bought another case of those, the ETBs. This was in December, guys. 2 months ago. 2 months ago I bought them. They've already basically doubled, maybe a little bit less, but yeah, definitely a little bit less, like 80% gain. So I got those, and then finally another few boxes of Paradox Rift at like 150 Canadian. So that's a little over 100 USD end of November. So point being, when we're in that downturn, when no one wants to buy, everyone thinks that Pokemon's going to zero, and no one really wants to open packs, or not as many people. It's not super popular. We don't see these two, three, $400 cards that are really just supposed to be like $150, $200 cards when we're not in an insane bull market. And when that is all happening, you guys have to be ready for it. You need to be able to buy, because if you aren't buying in that period, you're not going to see the best gains, right? And it's going to be difficult. It's going to be very difficult for a lot of people to just mentally click the buy button and know that they're probably not going to see gains for a year, 2 years, 3 years, however long it is. But just knowing that it will more than likely pay off in the future. So again, I'm not saying that all of this is guaranteed. Obviously, there's tons of risk in Pokemon. There's tons of risk with a lot of things in life, and some things are riskier than others. Make your own informed decisions. I'm just saying that I'm mentally preparing to get back to this 2023, 2024 era where no one wanted SV products, and then everything popped off now. So with the next generation, I figure that's going to happen again, and that'll be the opportunity. Anyways, guys, I'm rambling way too much. Thank you so much for watching the video. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.